Well, as you can see, Hummingbird is the title of this new collection from our friends at Crafter's Companion. And this is one of the wonderful cards that Teresa has done in this webisode. So please come play with us. Well, let me just show you what's in this collection. So there's the 12 by 12 paper pad. There are 36 pieces. And just to give you a sneak peek, these are the papers Teresa did not use in the project. So just so that you can see how absolutely beautiful they are. And yes, they are double-sided. So that's kind of fun to see. Now, she also has the Hummingbird Vellum. These are 8 by 8 vellums. And the only one that Teresa didn't use is this one. And isn't it pretty? Just gorgeous. There are 24 pieces in here, so there are multiples of each design in both of them. Then there is also a cutting die, and this has it's called a botanical wreath. So you've got the wreath, and then you have a large hummingbird also, and a greeting. And oh, actually the greeting is here. It's in these stamps. So there are 8 pieces here. This is 1 piece. So that's the collection. Now, this is Teresa. So there are 5 projects. So if you will just, you know, kind of relax, have a cup of something, and we'll show you all that Teresa has created. So this is the first card, and it measures 5 by 6.5 inches. It's our standard size. And what Teresa has done is let me show you the papers that she used in my pile over here. So this is the one, and this is a back side. Let's see, these papers are a little thick, so that's kind of nice. It's the back side of this sheet, and she has used it right here on the front of the card, so that worked nicely. And then Teresa is giving us a pattern, which I, for some reason, don't have, but it is the tag shape, and so that'll be a download. So as you know, you go down below, click on this card, it will take you to the instructions. Teresa writes instructions for everything, and then at the top of the instructions you'll see download, and that will be the tag shape. And the instructions and the download are on the right side of your screen, which is where we keep lots of good things. So that, oh, here it is. That's what the tag looks like. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Now, she has cut one out of the paper and one out of the vellum. So the paper is out of this sheet, so you can see those beautiful flowers, and those hummingbirds are just going all directions, so that's really kind of neat. That's the back side of it, in case you're interested. Then she cut another one out of the vellum, and I can show you right here that that's where she cut. Now, with the vellum, it is translucent, and so rather than having it on the black, I thought I would show it to you with white on the back. And it does a wonderful job of exactly what Teresa's done here. So she has overlaid them, and so you get kind of that image through, which is really pretty. Now, to embellish this page, she has added dazzles, and we do have hummingbird dazzles. In fact, here they are, and this collection has several sheets in several colors. You can see that she used this blue teal one on top, and she did mat it onto this paper on the back here, where she simply placed the dazzle and then used the sharp scissors. Now, we use the ones that are 4.5 inches long because the blade is about 2 inches, and that way it just kind of guides your cutting along the edge of the dazzle. So that works really nicely. You could, of course, place it on vellum and do the cutting also. She foam taped it on top. Now, the decorations along the side of that come from our border dazzles. These are the gold ones. There are just a ton of pieces on this sheet. I think there's 31. And you can see that she's done this on the bottom of the tags as well as on the top of her card. You know, something I didn't tell you, and I'm so sorry, is this sheet was on the base of the card, but this sheet, this lavender, is that little piece. So you can tell that the teal and the lavender are carried through everything on this card. Now the ribbons come from our ivory collection, and that's what they look like, and don't they do a nice job? And Teresa did a clever thing here. So she placed the ribbon just across that paper. After she put the tags in place, then she just knotted a ribbon length and zotted it right there. So it does a nice job of kind of filling in that space where normally there's a hole in the tag. So that worked well. Now we'll go to the inside of our card, and look what she's done. So she's got a piece of the paper that she used on the front, and that is right here with the border dazzles on each side. This is a piece of the vellum. It is that same sheet that you used for the tag, or that she used for the tag, that you might use for the tag. So here is the area that she used for the tag. And then for the inside of the card, she's got the rest of this piece. So that just worked out very nicely. I think you're even going to have a bit left over. Now, spread your wings and fly. Well, she used the Versamark and the gold embossing powder to really make that shine just beautiful on that vellum. So it's really kind of neat to leave this kind of flapping and just attach it at the top underneath that, that border paper. So that worked nicely. And if you want to, Teresa did use Lagoon. You will see it in her instructions. And there you go. And she used the blending brushes to edge her paper and the tags. So that's another option that works very nicely and finishes off this card. Now, speaking of finishing off this card, how about the greetings? And they are out of the Dazzle set. So Beautiful is right here. Spread Your Wings, of course, was done with the stamp. But the Love You, that is out of the We're Together Dazzles. So that is another collection. But you'll see everything down below after you click on that card. So Dazzles and these beautiful papers just do a really nice job together. Okay, you ready for card number 2? Let's see. Now this is an easel card. So as you can see, and this is our first look at that cutting die. So here is what it's going to look like when it is standing. And let me show you what Teresa has done. So she has taken our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card, and she has taken the front of it and made a score line halfway. So it's 2.5 inches from the opening. And that is going to become our piece that is going to rise up. So that just makes that very easy. Now, on the card right here, she has taken this paper, and here you can see it. So it's got all of this mottled looking. I mean, I just almost think you can just choose any of them and you're going to be good. This is the back side of it. Aren't those beautiful? And so she has cut 2 pieces and placed them there on each of those pieces of the card. Now the border, I bet you would guess, this is purple border dazzles. So as you can see, these are thicker than our thin line dazzles, and they just are a little more substantial. So that works nicely. Now going into the cutting die, so let me show you what that looks like. It is one piece. You can see it right there, and I guess you see the results of it right there. And she has die cut it out of a couple of different things. So let me show you. So we have the Miri cardstock. Now the Miri cardstock is super shiny, as you can see. So she die cut the piece. This is one piece out of the purple Miri cardstock, as well as the fuchsia pink. And here is what that fuchsia pink looks like. So actually you can see them right there, can't you? So because this is one die, she needed to cut 2 sections out. And then she used the sticky specks, our wonderful sticky specks, to attach the 2 layers. So she's got 1 layer of pink and 1 layer of purple. Well, for the purple layer, you can just leave the 1 piece, but for the pink layer, she cut out the wreath, leaving the hummingbird, and attached it on top using the sticky specks. So that just makes this more substantial. Later on, I'm going to show you a card that has multiple layers that were done the same way with the sticky specks. So that worked nicely. Now, to carry that purple color through, she used the fuchsia jewel dazzles, and you can see that they're just placed in the center of those circles. So that worked nicely. Then, for her greeting, the thinking of you, well, that is in the card Inside Outside. So this has black, white, gold, and silver. You can see the white is right there. And some little butterflies, because this has got a ton of little icons with it. So hearts and flowers and butterflies, so that's nice. Then on the inside of her card, she has gone with another piece of the vellum, and it is this piece. So you can see the blue coloring, really pretty, and you can see how that was placed right there. And it is edged with the jewel dazzles again, just like it was on the front. Now, these flowers come from the cutting die. So you can trim them out just like she's done, and she did back them with the pink, the fuchsia pink Mary cardstock. And then, of course, Sincere Sympathy is from those same Inside Outside dazzles. So as you get this, thinking of you, and then like there. So a really lovely sympathy card, but it could easily be thinking of you, happy birthday, just lots of variety of things, and a fun use of that vellum again. Okay, now the card I showed you in the very beginning is this one, and I think this is gorgeous. So let me show you what goes on. Again, it is our 5 by 6.5 inch card, and we do that because that just gives us more room to create. Now, what Teresa did is she started with her card base, and this is the paper that she used to go on the front of it. So again, you can pick if you want more of the peach area or you want to go more of the purple area. That's your choice. This is on the back of this piece. Maybe I'll turn it right side up. Does that help? Okay, so that is on the front of the card. Now, this piece, which I think is brilliant, Teresa used our oval and scalloped cutting dies. There are 10 of them in this package, and she used this piece of vellum and cut out the largest scalloped. I'm sure that you can see that. How neat is that? And then she scored a little bit so that part of it, I'd say about 1/2 inch, is going to get attached inside the card. So it is really secure in there. And of course, you'll want to use the extra sticky tape to attach it because it's being moved around. And so that's really nice. The other thing that she did is to attach or to wrap this ribbon around this paper. And the ribbon comes, as you would probably imagine, out of our purple ribbon set. And this is the dotted Swiss. And so doing that, so she wrapped it first, then glued her paper down, and then came back with a piece of the same ribbon and just tied a knot in a separate length just right there. And it kind of brings those pieces in and gives you an anchor. And so obviously you want to position that so that it will allow that oval to get tucked under. So that works nicely, very nicely. Now, that hummingbird right there, is not a dazzle. It is from the Hummingbird cutting dies. Now, if you just want little hummingbirds, we have a great big one on this cutting die. But if you want these little guys that measure about 2 inches square, this is the cutting die for you. And the way this works is you've got 4 pieces, as you can see. You've got the backing, so right there, and Teresa die cut that out of the purple lavender glitter cardstock. Okay, so that's the one. So she did that for the base. And then she die cut out of the lilac Mary cardstock for the top piece. And look how beautifully they work together. And with this hummingbird, so you've got the body, which you're going to do 1 of each. You're going to do 2 of the wings, and then you can position the wings however you like. In this case, Teresa used this one. Now maybe we can get in a little bit closer, Houston, just to see those options. Okay, so that's how this one is, but you can have them both going up, just one, you can have it going down, so you can move them as you wish. So that's a nice bonus. This is not part of the Money Saver. It's not from our friends at Crafters Companion, so it is a different purchase. So just want to let you know about that. Okay, we'll back up again. Now, right here on the other front of the card, we have another of the hummingbirds done with the cutting dies. Now this is another oval that has been die cut with those. And then this greeting is out of the stamp set, as you can see, wishing you happiness today and always. One of the little dazzles, and I'll show you about those when we get inside the card. So that's kind of neat because that covers it up, and when you open it, you don't have a blank page. You kind of have something interesting to see. And then when we go inside the card, we have even more interesting to see. And in this case, we have another oval. This is out of the Purple Mary. And then this is a piece out of this paper. As you can see, those flowers, those look like our wind flowers, don't they? And that smaller piece is cut, and then there's a little sheet of the Mary that is backing that. So just about 1/4 of an inch is showing, so you can see that. There you go. Now, doing the stamping on the Mary cardstock, you want to make sure to use like a StazOn, and Teresa will have a recommendation in the instructions because this is a slick surface, so you need that extra ink. Now, for that butterfly and that butterfly, it comes from this package of 117 beautiful butterflies. So they're big ones, little ones, but you can see this has the pink. There are also other colors and other finishes in that collection. So that gives you just a really fun way to travel through this card. Again, another design that you can use for many reasons and many seasons, don't you think? Okay, you want to keep that. Now, again, this is Teresa, so we have a lot to share. Some people like to pause me. You can do that and maybe come back if you get interrupted, but we do want to have you see everything that we have to offer, so that's really fun. Now, with this card, there's something else going on. So let me just open this so I can show it to you. This is a little bit narrower. A little bit has been cut off, but look at the vellum right there. And there's also, do you see these leaves that are coming? Those are die cut out of the vellum. Aren't they gorgeous? And on the inside of the card too. So these are more of the dazzles. So let me show you. You're going to start with your regular card. So the card comes flat, it's scored in the center, and we want to fold it. You always leave the bump in the center of the card. And then we want to trim off a 1/2 inch. So that will cut this down to 4.5 by 6.5, okay? Then we're going to cut the top part off, because we need to create our hinge at the top of this card. So we're going to separate this, and so you will have 2 pieces. one like this and one like that. Okay, then we're going to do something else. We're going to cut this to be, it's already 4.5 by 3 inches. Then we're going to cut another piece that's 4.5 by 2. So this piece is going to be used elsewhere. Okay, so we've got these two pieces. Let me just separate them to show you. Okay, this is going to become the top of our card. Then for this one, because we need to attach it, we need to do a score line about 1/2 inch. Then this is going to get attached to, it can either be attached right there at the inside of our card, because we are going to be covering it, or on the back of it. Now let me see. Teresa did it on the back, so that's the recommendation. So again, you want to attach that with our friend extra sticky tape, and that will work very nicely. Then, so we're going to place that. Then we're going to cut a piece of vellum. And the vellum that we're using, so she's used a lot of the blues and the purples. This goes into the greens and the oranges. So this is the piece that is going to go between these two pieces. So it's going to be cut a little bit larger. And you can use any area of it, because what we really want is the translucence. And I think what Teresa did is she used this area. And you do want to cut it, again, the measurement is down below, so that it will overlap, because we'll put the paper on top of it, okay? So we put the vellum on, go ahead and attach it. You can use the extra sticky tape, we'll do a good job of that also. Then we'll do the paper on top, okay? So the paper is this, and isn't this pretty? And on the back side is just like the vellum was. Of course, this is larger because it's 12 by 12. So scrapbookers, this is perfect for you too. So you're going to cut 2 pieces to go on top of that vellum, and that will do a nice job of holding it in place. Speaking of a nice job, look at all those beautiful edges. Those are out of our fancy border pearl and pastel sheets, this package. There are, I think there's 20 sheets in here. There's quite a bit, and this will just go so far for you. This gold pearl is what Teresa has used, but there's pink, white, blue, all sorts of things in here, and you can see how she's got them going onto the vellum, and then a smaller one at the top and the bottom. Okay, now let's look and see how she has created the loveliness in the middle there. She has taken our bigger leaves and ferns #2 cutting die. Now there is a #1 that's in limited supply, but the #2 we have more of, but choose whatever you like. Teresa used the #2, and she die cut the vellum. So that same vellum piece that you used right here, she went back into it and die cut several pieces, so you can see these beautiful pieces going on top of the paper, on top of the dazzles, on top of the vellum that's in the middle, and just how they do such a nice job. And I have to tell you, I am surprised how often, even with a title called Bigger Leaves and Ferns, it will work on smaller surfaces. Now this is 4.5 inches instead of 5, but it just does a beautiful job. So I'm happy to share that with you. So she has done that out of the vellum. Now, she also used a second one. This is tiny flowers and leaves. And isn't it interesting that our tiny flowers pair so beautifully with our bigger leaves and ferns? But they do. In fact, you can see right here. So Teresa has die cut out of solid cardstock. And what she used is this set. This is out of our romantic florals that came out earlier this year, and you can just see the 12 colors that are in there, so that's really a bonus. And so she has die cut the flowers out of those, and then she used the gold jewel dazzles, these little circles, to go on top of the flowers. Make sure that you can see that. Okay, now for the hummingbirds, she has used the gold glitter cardstock, and she has placed the butterfly dazzles, excuse me, the hummingbird dazzles. And this is one of the sheets out of that package of hummingbirds that I showed you in the beginning, where we used the teal. Well, now this is a green. So she just placed them onto the glitter, used those 4.5-inch scissors to trim right around them, and then foam tape them on top. Now that hello, that little tiny hello, so we're doing lots of bigger and tiny things. This is out of the Tiny Words and Phrases. Now this is out of the Pastels and Pearls collection. Did you notice how cleverly I just kind of looked right there? You hardly even noticed it, but I've got my notes on the back to remind me. So this is the Tiny Words and Phrases, Pearls and Pastels, which means you've got them in lots of different finishes. So that little hello is right there. So Big and Little has a fun play with this card. On the inside, this is a piece of the paper. Now we used the vellum that had that outline of the leaves, but this is the paper that has that same outline. Put it there. We've mixing the dazzles with the hummingbirds. We've got more of the ferns and leaves that are die cut out of the in this case, this is out of the cardstock. On the front, it was out of vellum. And you can see those jewel dazzles. So just a really wonderful card. And, you know, even though there are several things used, I think this is something that you can really use again and again. Just a wonderful sample. Okay, are you ready for number 5? This is the last one. And here it is. This card comes flat, but then it will pop up. You see that acetate there, and it will also stand up perfectly. Okay, now I have a little note on the back, so I'm going to take that off because the back of it is also finished. How pretty is that? Now, what Teresa did is a couple of things, as in typical Teresa fashion. Now, this card base is a tan brown, and so she used, let me grab this. This is our, it's not pearlescent, it's just pastel cardstock. This has got 20 sheets on it. It is a super, super value. And so she used that to create her card base. And let me get a clear vision for you. She cut a piece of that tan to be 11.25 by 5 inches. Now, to make those areas that are going to roll up, there's a little bit of scoring. So we always start from our left-hand side. So starting from the left, she scored 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 2 inches, 2 3/4. And then she did the same thing on the other side. But if you're still going from the left, you're going to go 8.5, 9 1/4, 10, and 10 3/4. Then you're going to turn it over and put the extra sticky tape along the score, the last score on each end, okay? That is going to become our card base. And what you're going to end up doing is removing the adhesive strip that protects it, and roll this and just position it right there. You want it nice and straight. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, like so. And that will hold it in place, but it will still shift for mailing, okay? Now, the other thing that you're going to need is Teresa has a piece of acetate that is going to span that bridge and really hold those two together so that when you move one, the other one follows. Okay, now this piece of acetate is, let me see, I'm not sure what it is, but it's in the directions. Again, you want the extra sticky tape on both sides. So after you have this attached and firmly in place, then you're going to position this on both areas, and then we're going to cover it with paper in just a minute, but you want to get that down, so that's going to hold everything together. Okay, now let's go back to our card and let me show you the pieces that she used. Now again, the acetate, we have it by the sheet, so just in case you need it, that's easy to do. And what Teresa has done is she has used this paper, and you can see those beautiful flowers. And that has become, she's used this one sheet to do all of the areas of her card. So this strip, the measurement that she gives you, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, because those are going to be placed on each of those kind of that box that you've got. Then there is another one that's going to go right here, and you can see that Teresa positioned that hummingbird right in the middle. And isn't that nice? Hope you can see. It's beautiful in person. Now, going along with her cutting die. So as I said earlier, this is the one where you're going to cut it out of several layers, okay? So we're going to use the pastel pink Mary cardstock as well as the rich gold Mary cardstock. So those are the two, as you can see. And what Teresa did is she die cut them several times. So you can see that this wreath has got a tan one on the back. So she also die cut the pieces out of the tan cardstock, the pastel cardstock. So when you are positioning such intricate things on top of each other, we're going to go back to the sticky specs, because that is just going to make it so much easier. And I have buried my sticky specs on this table as I pulled out here we go, as I pulled out everything to show you. So the sticky specs, just in case you don't know, let me show you. Now I don't have a die cut piece, but I can kind of pantomime this for you. So with the sticky specs, they are this A5 size, you get 8 of them. These are reusable, so don't use it and throw it away. You can use it again and again and again. So you simply pull off the liner, which is this, and then you've got all of the adhesive dots right there. So you simply place your cutout piece right there. When it's brand new, you don't have to burnish it very much, just very, very lightly, and then lift it off, and you can perfectly position it onto another layer. So for this, there are 2 layers, the tan and the pink. For this hummingbird, there are multiple layers. So there is, of course, the tan and the pink, just because those came together. But then she also did a couple in the gold. And she has foam taped the top one, but she sticky specced the first one. So you've got 4 layers, okay? And doesn't that look nice? Now, she also did some embellishment. So let me scoot this over. So as I'm wiggling this around, you can see those. Of course, you're going to see this with the Mary, but there's also some gold thin line dazzles on, I guess she just did on the front. So this is the thin line dazzles. There's black, white, gold, and silver here. There are 60 some on each sheet. So I think this has 250 in it. In fact, the title is 250 thin line dazzles. So they're going to go a long way for you. The Hello Friend. The Hello Friend is part of our We're Together dazzles. And they come in a package like this. They are stacked, and also they are in scripts. So things like missing you, love you, get well, thinking of you, friend, missing our time together. The Hello Friend is the gold piece, and it's right there. Now on the back of this, Teresa pulled one of the vellum, and this one. And you can see that this little guy is right there. And it is backed with the tan, so she did mat it. She put the thin line dazzles around it, and then missing our time together is right there. How pretty is that? Really nice. And she used the brown in right here in the front. She used the gold, so it's kind of nice to have that package. So that is quite a unique card. Well, If you are not in love with hummingbirds before this, I hope you are now. We have lots of wonderful things. So again, the products that we used come from Crafter's Companion. There is the Hummingbird 12 by 12 papers, the Hummingbird 8 by 8 vellum. That is such a treat. We have the botanical wreath with a hummingbird. That is the cutting die. And then we also have the Spread Your Wings collections of stamps. So all of those are together. So really, thank you so much. Well, thank you, Teresa. A wonderful job. Lots of great inspiration for us. If you're watching us on YouTube, we would love for you to click down below. Come on over to paperwishes.com. Why? Well, because for a couple of reasons. We've got a money saver right on the right side of our screen. You can save to get this collection. Of course, they're all available individually. But also, as I said, down below, you can see each of the 5 cards that Teresa did. You can click on them. You can get that download. You can print off the instructions. Everything is together and just ready for you. So that's our webisode for today. I want to thank you so much for joining us and for being part of our Paper Wishes family.